Good morning, good Shabbat Shalom, and welcome to our service. Let me remind you again that this service is being pre-recorded. Although we're not all together in person, we pretend that we are. We are creating almost a different kind of service, a Zoom service, a virtual service. It's a great way for all of us to be together when we can't be together in person. Let us begin our service with the singing of Hinei Ma Tov U'Manayim.
Hinei ma tov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei ma tov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei ma tov u'manayim, la 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 la. Hinei ma tov u'manayim, la 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 la. Hinei ma tov u'manayim, la 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 la. Hinei ma tov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei ma tov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad.
There are things that are limitless, of which a person enjoys the fruit of the world, while the principle remains in the world to come. They are honoring one's father and mother, engaging in deeds of compassion, arriving early for study morning and evening, dealing graciously with guests, visiting the sick, providing for the wedding couple, accompanying the dead for burial, being devoted in prayer, and making peace among people. But the study of Torah encompasses them all. We continue now with the singing of Elohai Neshama Shenatata Bi.
Elohai, Elohai, Neshama, Shenatata Bi, Tehorahi, Ata Birata, Ata Yitzarata, Ata Nefakta Bi, Ve'ata Mishamra Bikirbi. Elohai, Elohai, Neshama, Shenatata Bi, Tehorahi.
Let the soul of everything alive bless your name, Adonai, our God, and the spirit of all flesh glorify and exalt your name forever, O Sovereign. Transcending space and time, you alone are God. We have no sovereign besides you. God of the first and the last, God of all creatures, Master of all generations, who is praised in a multitude of praises, who guides the world with abundant loving kindness and all creatures with mercy. Adonai neither slumbers nor sleeps. God awakens the sleeping, arouses those who slumber, gives speech to the mute, and God loosens the bond of captives. God supports the fallen and strengthens those who are bent over. You alone do we acknowledge. We continue with the singing of the Baruch Hu.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamavorach. Baruch Adonai Hamavorach Leolam Vaed.
Praise Adonai, to whom praise is due forever. Praise be Adonai, to whom praise is due now and forever. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzer or uvorei choshech, oseh shalom uvorei et hakol. Hameir la'aretz v'ladarim aleha berachamim, וכתובו מחדש בכל יום תמיד, מעשה בראשית. מה רבו מעשיך, אדוני, כולם בחוכמה עשית, מלא הארץ קניינך, תתברך אדוני אלוהינו, על שבח מעשה ידיך, ועל מאורי אור שעשית יפארוך הסלע, אור חדש על ציון תאיר, ונזכה כולנו מהרה לאורו, ברוך אתה אדוני, יוצר המאורות. How deeply you have loved us, Adonai, our God, gracing us with surpassing compassion, on account of our forebears, whose trust led you to teach them the laws of life. Be gracious to us, teaching us as well. O merciful one, have mercy on us by making us able to understand and discern, to heed, learn, and teach, and lovingly to observe, perform, and fulfill all that is in your Torah. We continue now with the singing of the Ha'er Einin.
והאר עינינו בתורתך, ודבק לבנו במצוותיך, ויחד לבבינו לאהבה וליראה את שמך, ולא ניבוש ולא ניכלים ולא ניכשל לעולם ועד. והאר עינינו בתורתך, ודבק לבנו במצוותיך, ויחד לבבינו לאהבה וליראה את שמך.
Gather us in peace from the four corners of the earth, and lead us upright to our land. For you, O God, work wonders. You chose us, truly you drew us near to your great name, that we might acknowledge you, declaring you one in love. Praise be you, Adonai, who chooses your people Israel in love. Baruch ata Adonai, habocher ba'amo Yisrael be'ahava. We continue with the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed.
Hear, O Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one. Blessed is God's glorious majesty forever and ever. Ve'ahavta.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'kol levavecha v'kol nafshecha u'v'kol me'odecha ve'hayu ha'dvarim ha'ele asher nohim etzavecha hayom ha'levavecha Veshinantam levanecha, v'dibartam, v'shivtecha bevetecha, u'v'lechtecha v'derech, u'v'shachvecha v'kumecha, u'kashartam leot al yodecha, v'hayu latotavot b'neinecha, u'ketavtam al mezuzot beitecha ubisharecha leman tizkeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'hiyitem kedoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
And we pause as our ancestors did after they crossed the sea and sang words of praise and thanksgiving to God, Mi chamocha.
מי כמוך באלם אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות עושה פלא, נורא תהילות עושה פלא. שירה חדשה שבחו גאולים, לשמך אספת הים, יחד כולם, הודו וקמלכו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך, אדוני ימלוך, לעולם ועד. צור ישראל, קומה בעזרת ישראל, ובני חינומך, יהודה וישראל. גאלנו, אדוני צבאות שמו, קדוש ישראל. ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל.
From Egypt you redeemed us, freeing us from bondage. For that your beloved sang praise exalting you. Your dear ones offered hymns, songs, praise, blessing, and thanksgiving to you as sovereign, the living, and enduring God, high and exalted, great and awesome. We continue with the tefillah.
Adonai sefatai tiftach, uviyagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu. Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Lehu, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor ve'hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekone Hakol, Vezoker Chaste Avot Ve'imot, Umevei Gula Levnei Bneihem, Lema'an Shemo Ve'ahava. Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Bezrat Sarah. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh hakol atah rod lehoshia, morid hatah. Mechachel chayim bechesed, Mechayeh hakol berachamim rabim. Somek nopilim verofei kolim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato l'shenei avar. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לו? מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה. ונאמנתה להחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל.
The Kedusha.
נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמעתי שמותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ, כבודו. אדיר, אדירנו, אדוני, אדוננו, מה אדיר שמך בכל הארץ. ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו, הוא מלכינו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ברחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון, ודור ודור. Hallelujah. לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ונצח נצחים קדושך נקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש, לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Those who keep Shabbat by calling it the delight will rejoice in your realm. The people that hallow Shabbat will delight in your goodness. For being pleased with the seventh day, you hallowed it as the most precious of days, drawing our attention to the work of creation. Vishamru.
Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות et ha-Shabbat, לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אוהי לעולם, לעולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת וינפש.
We offer thanks, O God, for this Shabbat which unites us in faith and hope, for Shabbat holiness which inspires sacred living, for Shabbat memories glowing even in darkness, for Shabbat peace born of friendship and love. We offer thanks and blessing, O God. We continue with Kadshenu.
Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu, ritzevenu chatenu, kadshenu b'mitzvotecha, v'tin chelkenu b'toratecha, sabinu mituvicha, v'samkenu b'shuvatecha, v'toher labenu le'ovdecha be'emet, ve'ankilenu Adonai Eloheinu. Be'avav ratzon Shabbat kodshecha, ve'anuchu ba'Yisrael mekodshei shamecha, Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu be'amcha Yisrael, u'tfilatam be'ahava tekabel, u'tehi l'ratzon tamid avodat Yisrael amecha, Baruch atah Adonai she'otcha levadcha b'yirah na'avod. We continue now with the congregation responding, Modim Anachnu Lach. We thank you after each section for the expanding grandeur of creation, worlds known and unknown, galaxies beyond galaxies, filling us with awe and challenging our imagination. Modim Anachnu Lach. For this fragile planet Earth, its times and rides, its sunsets and seasons, Modim Anachnu Lach. For the joy of human life, its wonders and surprises, its hopes and achievements, Modim Anachnu Lach. For human community, our common past and future hope, our oneness transcending all separation, our capacity to work for peace and justice in the midst of hostility and oppression, Modim Anachnu Lach. For high hopes and noble causes, for faith without fanaticism, for understanding of views not shared, Modim Anachnu Lach. For all who have labored and suffered for a fairer world, who have lived so that others might live in dignity and freedom, Modim Anachnu Lach. For human liberties and sacred rights, for opportunities to change and grow, to affirm and choose, Modim Anachnu Lach. We pray that we may live not by our fears, but by our hopes, not by our words, but by our deeds. Blessed are you, Adonai. Your name is goodness, and you are worthy of thanksgiving. Baruch atah Adonai, hato shemcha, u'lecha na'eh lehodot. A prayer for peace. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of our world. Plant virtue in every soul. And may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Adonai, who blesses your people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamevarech et amo Yisrael, b'shalom. Let us continue with a few moments of private silent prayer.
lefanecha, lefanecha. Adonai tsuri vegori, tsuri vegori,
We offer special prayers for those who are ill, for those who are suffering. Mishaberach avotenu ve'imotenu, Avraham, Yitzchak, ve'Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, v'Leah, hu yavarech et hacholim. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal those who are ill. We mention our friends, our family members, our congregational members, Nancy Freund, Ruth Pogorski, Andrew Lerman, Eileen Agan, Joshua Harand, Katie Pastor, Trudy Caruso, Zachary Pastor, Douglas Baker, Rebecca Lutkoff. And we remember and think of all those members of our family in the entire world who are suffering, who are ill, who are in distress at this time. But we give each other a few extra moments to mention names and say them out loud of those whom you know and love who are ill and need an extra prayer. May the Blessed Holy One be filled with compassion for their health to be restored and their strength to be revived. May God swiftly send them a complete renewal of body and spirit. And let us all say amen as we sing together.
Mishaberach avotenu, Mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishaberach imotenu, Mekor habracha leotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Prayers for our community, prayers for our country. Source of all being, may the children of this community learn these passions from us. Love of Torah, devotion and prayer in support of the needy. May we guide with integrity, and may our leadership be in your service. May those who teach and nourish us be blessed with satisfaction, and may we appreciate their time and their devotion. Bless us with the fruits of wisdom and understanding, and may our efforts bring fulfillment and joy. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levadcha, v'yirah na'avod. Thus says Adonai, this is what I desire, to unlock the fetters of wickedness and untie the cords of lawlessness, to let the oppressed go free, to break off every yoke. Share your bread with the hungry and take the wretched poor into your home. When you see the naked, give clothing, and do not ignore your own kin. If you banish the yoke from your midst, the menacing hand, the evil speech, if you offer compassion to the hungry and satisfy the famished creature, then your light shall shine in darkness. In this week's Torah reading, we read one of the many occasions where sacred occasions, sacred festivals are listed. In the 29th chapter, we read about the 7th month. Now, the 7th month is the month of Rosh Hashanah. Unlike other calendars, the beginning of the year is not the beginning of the first month, because there were several calendars in ancient Israel. And there's the religious calendar, there's the civil calendar, the times for kings, the new year for trees, which we know about. So don't be thrown by 7th month. On the first day of the month, you shall observe a sacred occasion. You shall not work at your occupations. Now, so far, so good. Then the key sentence, leaving out all the details of sacrifices that used to be offered. I'm reading here from the Jewish Publication Society translation. You shall observe it as a day when the horn is sounded. Yom Teruah Yehieh Lachem. We observe that and have through the ages by blowing a horn. And a horn in the literal sense, a horn from an animal, not a manufactured horn or instrument. We have kept up this ancient tradition, and it is overwhelmingly powerful, in my opinion, because here we are taking something that was common in the ancient world, to use an animal's horn and make a musical instrument out of it, something not so common today. I must have shared with you on one occasion or another that I had the opportunity to be part of I almost want to say, touring group of young men who went from community to community demonstrating what you do with the horn to make it a shofar. Specifically, they brought horns that had been taken off animals and showed us how they were put in boiling water and how everything was scraped out and how everything was carved accordingly. And it was an absolutely fascinating experience, because in our world, where we will go into a music store perhaps and buy a musical instrument, or go into a Jewish supply store and buy a ready prepared shofar, this brought the process, the stages, down to reality for me. Rosh Hashanah, in this part of the biblical text, is the festival of the blowing of the shofar. Now, when I read this right now, this year, 2020, the summer of 2020, I am confronted with contemporary challenges. We're told, first and foremost, with regard to religious services, that if we have choirs singing, the singing voices project, among other things, germs. And choirs can be very dangerous. So we don't have a full congregation out there to be infected, and we're working out details. Another piece of information which we have received is blowing the shofar can be just as challenging, if not more so. Well, what are we doing about it? Again, we are in process. We will know what we are going to do when we've done it, because we are facing all kinds of unknowns. But the summer is often a time of preparation for the high holidays. Now, let me give you an example of how it's been done in the past and the new challenges of this year. In the summer, rabbis and others start thinking about what they're going to do and what they're going to say. I think primarily, what was it, just 2 years ago, when we used the new Mishkan HaNefesh for the first time, I took my 2 volumes and all my written notes, which I had taken on those volumes, in a little satchel when we went away on vacation, working out details, which is what you have to do. Even though the basic teaching is, I mean, you have to do it anyway, but the primary teaching is not just getting the prayer book in order, but yourself in order. This year, there are meetings that are going on constantly to figure out the best way of presenting the service, the music, and I'm including the shofar in the music, to you in the safest possible way. So this summer isn't just a summer of saying, oh, we'll do the same thing we did last year with a few extra tweaks. It's almost reinventing everything. And when you have to do that, at least speaking for myself, the meaning and significance of it all hits home more powerfully. Have I always been doing it this way? What if I couldn't? And again, I want to conclude with the experience of Jewish history. Yes, we are having services. Even though they are virtual, they are still services. And if we couldn't do that, if we were all dispersed, if we were all alone, each one of us, would we give up on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur? How many of our people through the ages had to hide, had to be alone, were in concentration camps or prison camps? They did their best. If they didn't have a prayer book, they tried their best to say the prayers from memory. And I'm going to have a little bit to say about this on Rosh Hashanah. We've never given up. We have continued. The practices here of sacrifices in the temple, when the temple was destroyed, no more sacrifices, but we didn't give up. We developed new ways of worship. And we're developing it right now, as I'm speaking to you, via Zoom, pre-recorded no less, to continue our sacred traditions with innovation. May we all be blessed with the strength and the courage to continue to develop and to continue to come up with new ways of dealing with life's challenges. We will now begin the concluding part of the service, and we continue with Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
I hope all of you have noticed, enjoyed, and appreciated our efforts to put a screen, a picture of the open ark as we normally would do for Aleinu. We are trying to be as innovative as we possibly can be. You see the sanctuary before me, but I'm not in the sanctuary. I'm trying not only to demystify what we have done, but often give a sense of appreciation for all the hard work that we put into this. I give special thanks to Kai, who is in a different part of town from where I am right now, to Corn and Spencer for all their technical help and advice. We're working on 3 computers in our house right now doing this, and hopefully we will be able to have more professional equipment and more professional videographers in the near future. Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and of death. We remember the recently departed Edward Shea, James Ora, Rabbi Jonathan Brown, Ada Mae Abuza, Merrill Goldman, Danny Baer, Frida Shapiro, Douglas Gross, Ruth Perlman, Morton Skirbo, Earl Gorton. And we remember those whose yahrzeits occur at this time: J. Brock Albert, Sylvia Bergman, Lucille Biron, Ivy Ditton, Gertrude Edelman, Glenn Fishman, Harry Fishman, Sarah Friedkin, Norman Grosser, Gertrude Lazaro, Sadie Lefkowitz, Richard Siegel, Edward Singer, Jack Solomon, Norman Tendler, Fanny Wetzler, Edward Zolte, Samuel Zolte, Raymond Swager. And we wait and pause for a moment to mention other names, and again, say them out loud, of those of our loved ones and friends who are no longer with us. May their memories stay alive in our hearts and our thoughts and our deeds. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, ve'alma divrach cherutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon uvyomechon, uv'chayedechol Beit Yisrael, v'gala uv'izman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam ul'almei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'tromam v'tnaseh, v'tadar v'talei v'talal shmei dekutsha brichu. Le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, damiran v'alma v'imru Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shamaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. May the source of peace grant peace unto those who mourn, and comfort the bereaved among us, and let us all say Amen. One quick announcement, please refer each week to our Thursday e-blast to bring you up to date on programs and other events that we are bringing to you, if only via Zoom. We will conclude this part of the service with Ein Keloheinu.
Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kadonenu, Ein Kemalkeinu, Ein Kamoshienu, Mikeloheinu, Mikadonenu, Mikamalkeinu, Mikamoshienu, Node Eloheinu, Node Ladonenu, Node Lemalkeinu, Node Lamoshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu.
Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chunecha. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May the Eternal One bless you by protecting you. May the light of the Eternal One shine upon you and be gracious to you. May you feel the presence of the Eternal One, and may you find peace. Good Shabbos, Shabbat Shalom. Take care. Be safe.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.